I'll close the door when I go down there.
Today is August 26th. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. North County Board of Commissioners meeting will come to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Additions, deletions to the agenda?
This time, Mr. Chairman.
Hearing none, Dylan? So moved. Motion by Commissioner Winter. I think second by Commissioner Casper. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 4 on the agenda, employee recognition. 4.1, Extension Farm Family of the Year. Please come up and have a seat and Lauren's here to celebrate the Spade Family Farm. Bring the chair. Morning.
Morning. So my name is Lauren Kears. I'm the small farm local food educator with Extension in Morrison County. I also serve Stern, Benton, and Sherburne County as well. So I have the Rudolph family here today to present the 2025 Family Farm of the Year for Morrison County. I want to read a little bit about them. And then we've got a few to pass off. So the beginning of the Rudolph family traces back to 1892 when it was first homesteaded. In 2011, Nathan and Brenda purchased a farm from Nathan's parents, continuing the multi-generational legacy. Their children, Everett and Vivian, are now the 6th generation to grow up on the land. Until 2019, the family operated a dairy, but they made the decision to transition to a diversified direct market livestock operation. Today, they raise pigs, beef, sheep, and poultry, selling their meats directly to customers through farmers markets, food hubs, restaurants, and schools. They all grow their own livestock feed, corn, rye, oats, and alfalfa, and also custom-raised steers. Farm tours for school groups help bridge the gap between consumers and food production. While both Nathan and Brenda work off farm, Nathan at Peterson Modern Blacksmiths, as well as
Wallace Fire Department.
Fire Department, and Brenda as a substitute teacher and secretary of the fair board. Their family remains hands-on. Everett and Vivian are active in chores and 4-H, with Everett also serving as Little Falls FFA president. Brenda founded Raising a Farmer, a nonprofit dedicated to farm-based education and connecting urban and rural communities. From cooking demos to hands-on youth workshops, their mission is simple: grow food and grow community. Together, they have created not just a farm, but a hub for education, service, and rural pride. Have a plaque for our county award, you guys, as well as these. Right here.
Oh, thank you very much. Dylan? Commissioner Winter.
Again, congratulations, you guys. I come across Nathan probably a little bit more often throughout the year than the rest of you, but I recognize a couple of these faces during our 4-H extension. You come through, you're growing, which we want to very much go over the years that we've been here. So again, this is something that I personally don't take lightly because I've been in 4-H since I was knee-high to the grasshopper. Very important for the families and very important for the community, what you guys do, because, it kind of makes the little ones now become more solid in life because we don't like being challenging much long. But as parents, I'm just tremendously proud of what you guys do for the extension and that sort of. So again, don't take this too lightly. I think you guys do a wonderful job, you two. I'm assuming you were down there. We won't get into too much. The state fair, the county fairs, you've had some showings down there, but if you want, if I may, Mr. Chair, what did you show this year at the county and state fair? And did you make it to the state fair?
So this year at the county fair, I showed poultry, so turkeys, ducks, geese, and some chickens, and then showed a goat and then beef heifer. And then stuff I took down to the state fair was my market ducks. And then for non-livestock, I had corn plant, some rye, then kernel corn, then bale of fluff, and then a beaver skull. So on that beaver skull, I took down the state fair.
And have you showed this, that yet? Because state fair is going on.
Yeah, I just showed that yesterday, my beaver skull, and then Thursday last week was my poultry show.
When did it get home, my brain?
Last night.
And it just shows, but the parents also have to, you have time and effort, shuffling back and forth. So again, thank you for that too. How about you, young lady? Did you take anything to the fair?
I took 5 sheep and a duck to the county fair. And then for non-livestock, I took a fairy garden, upcycle clothing, new clothing, I got a cucumber plant.
Awesome. Wonderful.
Now yield back to you, Mr. Harry.
All right.
Thanks.
Mr. Blaine.
Mr. Chair, in an effort to be a person of a few words, I'm going to say that's not going to happen because I have to say more than a few words about this family. Number one, this is probably the most prime example you could find of family in agriculture that has learned how to adapt and do it successfully. Looking at responding to changing markets, to changes in society, and changes within our own community, and seeing how both Nathan and the entire family have looked at opportunities or these challenges as turning into opportunities and being able to execute on them. Their communication skills are tremendous. But most importantly, I think is the commitment to community in service. Your work as a stalwart part of the Ag Society, and probably one of the biggest reasons that the Morrison County Fair is so, I'll say, friendly and inviting to youth, is because of Brenda's work in making sure that there's opportunities that all of the families can partake in. And I think that's, I think you don't get enough credit for the work that you do there. So I'm making sure I take that opportunity today. But when we look at the things that you've been able to do and the impact that you've had on children in school, understanding where their food comes from, that it doesn't come out of a cabinet or a shelf in a grocery store, that there's somebody out there that's responsible for that product being on the shelf, and your willingness to share that background work that gets done, whether it's on the lawn, whether it's taking time to be in the classroom, or sharing with the public out there. And so for me, this is a special day. Not only because of of the award, but the opportunity to recognize a family that's been here in Morrison County, 6 generations, 133 years. This is a great opportunity for us as a county board, and like my colleague, Commissioner Witcher, I don't take this lightly. Thank you, Brenda and Nathan and your entire family. What a tremendous example of what success in Morrison County looks like. So with that, Mr. Chair, thank you for the time.
All set. Anything else, Dylan? I just want to say thank you for everything you do. Not only for the feeding the world, but you're also a teacher, a fireman, and great parents to two wonderful kids. And we're lucky to have you in Morrison County. It's a well-deserved award. Congratulations. And could we get a picture of you?
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for driving in. Big brothers on.
Somebody that will start in the middle here, so. Awesome.
My holy brothers.
He's almost 3 feet. Yeah. You know, this family has been at the breakfast every year since I've been on this board.
Ever since Everett was in kindergarten.
Wow. Fantastic.
Got it.
Thank you. Guys.
Thanks for being.
Congratulations. One more round of applause.
Chicken sandwich.
That was nice.
Yeah,
Good man.
absolutely, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm still under employee recognition. I'm gonna pass it off to administrative law.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll invite Sheriff Sean Larson, Dispatcher Peggy Zimney, and Deputy Jordan Geisy to come on up, please. Mr. Chair, this morning, thank you for the opportunity. We're going to recognize a couple of our employees for their actions, an event that took place November 1st of 2024. I would like to note too, one of our dispatchers, Heather, is not, who couldn't make it today. And then we have a trooper that also was unable to make it. That was part of this incident. But with that, I'll pass over to Sheriff. Thank you. Oh, there it goes. I got batteries. Go ahead.
All right, thanks, Mike. The chair, members of the board. So yeah, November 1st, like Matt said, 2026. There was an Amber Alert that went out, Crow County. You think back, everybody's cell phone is probably going off right after 6 a.m. in that time frame. Basically, it was a suspect that was armed and dangerous, and there was a few other details that went out. There was a cops alert that went out first. It's more information shared by our staff. Testing, thank you. And anyway, Peggy and Heather Ray were dispatching, and 2 veteran dispatchers. And they were taking the information as it was coming in, and they were making sure that our law enforcement officers were getting that information. At one point, the vehicle was spotted by a resident in Morrison County, and he actually called and gave that information to dispatch. He confirmed with the plate. He said he recognized the plate and the description of the vehicle from the Amber Alert that went out earlier. And dispatch started relaying that information to our deputies and other law enforcement officers. And, at one point, there was they set up in Bell Prairie Township, and there was later a traffic stop, a high-risk felony traffic stop that took place, near the intersection of 183rd Street and 175th Avenue. But if we go back a little bit, we knew some of the details, and we later kind of put the puzzle together, but this gentleman that was wanted, committed a homicide and later torched the house on fire. Then he goes in and he finds a pregnant woman with her 4 kids, takes a rifle, shoots a round up in the ceiling, and forces them by gunpoint, abducts them, puts them in the vehicle, and then they took off. So this is something that every day these guys, they put their uniforms on, they never know what's coming our way, guys and gals. Just like dispatch, you don't know what call is going to funnel through your PSAT. And this is a call that funnels through, and it's the real deal. Everybody needs to be on their A game. You have one chance at this. You have innocent bystanders involved, and you got a suspect known to have a rifle, and knowing what he just did, knowing that he might not go down easily. So, everybody was kind of set up. Dispatch did a great job. They still got to do their normal day-to-day answering of the phones, managing the radio, juggling all these different tasks while this main event is taking place. So they did that, and the deputies were able to set up. Jordan Geisey, Deputy Jordan Geisey, and Trooper Matt Anderson were the first ones on the scene, the first ones to conduct that high-risk stop. Luckily, the suspect complied. They listened to the officer's commands. They're able to take him into custody without incident. And then the vehicle was cleared, and they found the female that was pregnant with her 4 children. They were later looked at by Mayo Ambulance and treated and released at the scene. But once they cleared the vehicle, there was numerous weapons that were in the vehicle. So just want to give a lot of credit. Number one, to our dispatchers. They're kind of our lifeline. They're the eyes and ears for us. And sometimes they don't get enough credit. But if it wasn't for them, this could have went sideways fast. You don't get that critical information. You just make a routine traffic stop. Things can blow up in our face. So we just want to really thank them and thank all of our staff for being involved. And there's more deputies and officers that showed up after the suspect was taken into custody. So it's definitely teamwork from the beginning. It's everybody working together, sharing that communication, and making sure that we all go home at night. And just a job well done, and Morrison County should be very proud. That's all I got.
Well, thanks, Sheriff, and great ones. And I appreciate you two being here and everybody else. I mean, what an amazing display of support and really recognition of your efforts. You know, and Mr. Chair, thanks for the opportunity. You know, our dispatchers, you know, call us on your worst. We send our best. Another example, and I am always so appreciative of stopping by and seeing them do their work, and our deputy to show up on scene and go through the incident textbook and by the numbers and ensuring really that safe return of the family and handling business. And I talk about that a lot with our public safety and first responders. When their alarm clock went off that morning and Peggy comes in at 6, I think 6 to 6 or so, and who knows what time Jordan came on shift, I don't think they knew they were going to be doing a felony traffic stop that day with hostages and possibly armed. But to go from a nice warm cup of coffee and how was yesterday for their partners into go time, and then to have that sort of result is just amazing. And it can't be taken lightly. It could have gone so many different ways, but the reality is the way it went was the best way it possibly could. So thank you very much, dispatchers, to responders, all the way to the recovery on the incident. On behalf of the county board, I'd like to present a certificate of appreciation. And there's 4 of them here again. Trooper Matt Anderson is at training today, and Heather Ray will present hers when I see her. But as it states, This certificate is awarded to Peggy Zimney in recognition of your exceptional skill and professionalism in your role as dispatcher. We commend your sharp communication abilities, calm under pressure, and deep understanding of emergency protocols and systems. Your unwavering commitment, empathy, and dedication to public service are invaluable. Because of your efforts, Morrison County continues to be a place our residents trust and feel safe calling home. Thank you. And a Deputy Guisey certificate is awarded to Jordan Guisey in recognition of your exceptional skill and professionalism in your role as deputy. We commend your sound judgment, clear communication, and steady presence in a high-pressure situation. Your deep knowledge of law enforcement procedures, commitment to community safety, and ability to respond with both courage and compassion make a lasting difference. Because of your efforts, Morrison County remains a place where our residents feel protected, supported, and proud to call home. Thank you. But I'm going to be one for Stacy. She talks all day long. 911.
That's just proud to work for a good agency and we have a great team. So congrats, Jordan. Good job.
Yeah, just to kind of dovetail off that, I think we work for an excellent agency that offers lots of training opportunities and without, anything from firearms to defensive tactics, things wouldn't go like this. So we're all well trained and thank you, Sheriff, for that.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, John? Commissioner Casper?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, this is a deal I recall like yesterday, that November morning, receiving that Amber Alert call. And, a lot of times you read through it and you think, well, keep an eye, but probably nothing's going to become of it. I only got several miles from home and I said, yes, they got him. There's a van that had pulled over and there was deputies all over the place and state patrol. And it was like, thank you, Lord. Cause that could have been a much, much worse situation that you guys were able to nip in the bud in a quick hurry. They did not get far. Thank you. God bless you for your efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Mr. Chair, thank you. This incident is one like, for those that sit in front of the TV and you see these reenactments on certain TV shows. And you think that, well, this happens in LA or this happens in Miami or just New York or somewhere else, but this doesn't happen. This doesn't happen in our backyard. And the fact of the matter is, this does happen at times, unfortunately, in our backyard. And the reality of this, I think, is the part that a lot of people in the public have trouble getting their arms around. That this is very real. And so I think the thing that sticks out to me most about this, because this isn't about TV and what entertains us, what sticks out to me the most is you have 5 or 6 people's lives in jeopardy for a period of time, and for them to walk away safely at the end of this or at the end of the day is in some sense remarkable. But I look at the reasoning for this being mainly as Deputy Guisey said, the training. And so just as Mr. LeBlanc was reading through and Sheriff Larson was explaining what happened there, and if you put yourself in that position, you have to have the ability to confidently execute decisions and understand the correct decision to make in a split second of time to be successful. And that only happens when you have more than adequate training. So for all the public who looks at sheriff's deputies or police officers or state patrol troopers that they just drive around in cars and watch for people. We have to further understate the importance of the time that they're not necessarily in these vehicles and are in the classroom or on the training site, being skillfully trained to make these decisions in a split second that has the effect on success for those people in the public and for that pregnant mother and her 4 children. I truly believe it's because of the training and certainly the leadership and experience of these 2 individuals that are here with us today, and the 2 that are not able to be with us. Congratulations, but more importantly, thank you for your service and your commitment to your training. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for everything you've done. Do you want to say something?
No, go ahead, Mr. Chair.
You know, these individuals, they don't not only just law enforcement, they're dealing with mental health issues, they're dealing with EMS, they're dealing with fires, they're dealing with all sorts of stuff. I listen to them all day, the stuff that they have to go through, and it's remarkable. They should get an award every day. Unfortunately, they don't expect an award. They took an oath to protect and serve, and they protect and serve. We appreciate everything you do. We're so lucky to have you as part of our team here. And Sheriff Larson, thank you for your leadership. We're so appreciative. You put yourself in the face of death for four children and a pregnant mother. You can sleep well the rest of your life. That's awesome. Anything else, gentlemen?
Yeah, I've used the analogy of a hat. You know, you turn your hat on when you go home and you turn it this way. I mean, look what we have out here in the boardroom too. You have to feel good for yourself for the protection that we have in the county. You guys just do an amazing job. I see we got some jailers here. We got the dispatch deputies, the sheriff. What a tremendous job you guys are doing. I don't hear myself personally, I have nothing but praise for you guys too, through what you do for the county. And again, you're such an asset. And again, with the leadership, with our sheriff here, again, thank you for what you do. Congratulations on how you handle that situation. And with my former chair, current chair, Mr. Casper, you know, I'm happy that God watched out for you guys too. So that's a big thing too. So everything turned out ways in your favor. Not always that happens, and we all understand that, especially myself too, with the rest of the board. It doesn't always turn out that way, but again, thank you for what you do for our county.
All right, let's get a photo.
Can I say something?
Oh,
yeah.
Just a real quick word to Dave. You can stand up if you'd like and say, that's my boy. Congratulations.
Awesome.
I guess.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I don't know how the sheriff, I don't know how the sheriff does it, but he finds out guys that. Yeah, you got it right. I want you right. Right in front. Right in front. You and Becky, right? Here, hey, Cal, I got a new bodyguard. These guys are all huge.
All right. Got it.
One more, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Someone needs to eat your vegetable.
Fix up. God bless.
You're tough, you're mentally tough, way to go, Dave. Let's take good words.
Thank you, Officer.
So not so fast, Jordan. Come on over here, please. So the county also runs a parallel program with their recognition. You may have seen an example of that underway in out here on the wall, where we highlight one employee each quarter to receive our award of excellence. So our award of excellence program is done quarterly, where department heads make a nomination for someone within the department. We have about 300 full-time staff are all eligible for this program. And then at the end of the year, the 4 recipients of the quarterly awards then compete for the annual award of excellence. The selection committee for the award of excellence is made up of the board chair, the vice, as well as 2 department heads that don't have somebody being nominated for that particular award. So maybe I'm ruined the surprise now, but you know, a lot has been said. So it's a big deal, Jordan. We're super proud of you. We're gonna put your photo on the wall. We get to look at it for the next year. And so much has been said about this incident. We know that you do this every day, and that is be a professional, respond with courage, follow our values and attributes, try to be resident centric and know that we're here to serve the public, but ultimately trust is what it's about in your field of line of work. We trust you to do your job, and we also trust that if you get into a bind, you're gonna call out that lifeline and it helps on the way. And I know you know that they're coming. So, Mr. Chair, it's my honor to recognize Deputy Jordan Geisey as our second quarter award of excellence recipient. So Jordan, I have a memorandum here that I'll send with you. I also have a certificate. And this is, you know, this encompasses that day as a single event, but all around in recognition of your contribution to assisting Morrison County in providing cost-effective, high-quality services in a friendly, respectful manner. Thank you for all that you do, making Morrison County a place our residents are proud to call home. So that's for the second quarter award of excellence. Thank you, Jordan. That's yours. We also received one of our trophies here, and you know, we found these, and I just think they're really neat. Obviously, it's our historical courthouse, and on the back it's inscribed the 2025 second quarter AOE winner, George Geisey. So as you make your way around the government center and you see these above somebody's workstation or cubicle, you know that they're kind of above. So that's yours too. You probably won't use this either, but a coveted front row parking spot. But they already get front row parking, so maybe you'll find somebody to give this to, but that is also yours, so congratulations. And then I think, last but not least, you're awarded either some chamber bucks to go shopping around town or a piece of Morrison County apparel. It seems like you like to dress in Morrison County, so that will also be awarded to you as well. So congratulations, and with that, the floor is yours.
You know that.
Well, thanks again. Really appreciate everybody showing up today and taking time out of your day to you know, get you the awards and stuff. So thanks again, everybody.
Right. Mr. Chair, oh, sorry.
Again, thank you for everything you do on a day-to-day basis. It's commendable what you do. It's a tough job and you do it with grace, and we appreciate it very much. Anything else, Devon?
If Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
I just say, Jordan, we recognize you as the second quarter recipient, not only because of the incident that we've talked so much about here, and I don't mean to diminish that at all, but we also recognize you for the work that you do around the clock, 365, the teammate, the team member to the rest of the staff within the sheriff's department. Your leadership abilities and your support of the culture that we cultivate here in Morrison County. We're extremely blessed to have. Thank you.
Commissioner Winter.
Just short and sweet. Congratulations, well deserved.
Thank you. He's got to come again.
Yeah, that's the downside. You get all these pictures. Hey, congratulations. Keep up the good work. God bless you. Absolutely.
Great, let's send them up. One more time, Jordan, thank you, bud. I'll have the family come up, please.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Sean, and then you're the sheriff's staff.
You step me right in front of You got the whole family coming up.
Oh, perfect. You gotta hold that certificate up there, Jordan. There you go. Let me know what you're there for. We'll get one without the family, then we'll have them come in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, get up there.
Oh, boy.
And you got description.
How's that?
I need Blaine to take a half step there.
I look, big.
Everybody on the stuff.
A little bit. There, okay, much better.
Can I stand on this desk?
Okay, now then.
Okay.
Family?
Where?
You come right in here. We'll fit you in here where you need to be.
You go right by your boy.
Yeah.
Boy,
Well,
you're the important people.
Just like that. Yeah, just like that.
I wanted to sit down.
Just get right up the front row here, just get close up so everybody get behind you. So there, a little closer, you wanna be right spot the camera. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Come on. Okay. So, Victoria, thank you. Come on.
Jane?
Yeah, good to see you. Yeah. Yeah. Push this.
That's the best, this is the best part of our job. This is the best part of our job.
Don't push you over.
No, this is. This is.
Here, get on the shoulders.
No, this is a photo you're gonna treasure.
There we go.
Yeah, no, what do you want to
Oh,
do?
you back.
Oh, yeah, I got 3 explanations.
Well, one of us is there.
Yes, actually.
Jordan's one of our smaller deputies. That's why you don't mess around.
I don't see anybody.
See, the shot, take half a step in.
Okay. Thank you guys. We look forward to that picture right outside.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Victoria. Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming. You gotta grab one yourself. So I think those are. That's Jordan. Thank you very much. Yeah, as soon as you-
That's my chair. Thank you.
Somebody's there.
It's good to see.
I like that. All right.
Well, this
Bobby, this is Bobby. We're gonna do musical chairs. There's Bobby. Okay, so this is good. Lord. Okay. Yeah, that's nice stuff. Perfect, thank you.
Did you want to?
Hey.
Oh,
America's been shut down since before then.
So we stand right back up.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, that concludes employee recognition.
Thank you, Commissioner LeBlanc.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
To you.
Keep up the good work.
You too.
Thank you.
Approval of the consent agenda. Is there any item within the consent agenda anyone would like for further discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as was provided to us.
Motion made by Commissioner Blaine,
I'll second it.
second by Commissioner Moran. Discussion? Hearing none, this will be a roll call. Commissioner Blaine,
Aye.
Commissioner Casper.
Aye.
Commissioner Winter.
Aye.
Commissioner Moran.
Aye.
Myself, Commissioner Lemire, is aye. Motion carried. Extension. Morning.
So
Hello.
as I said, Lauren, here's small farm local foods educator with the University of Minnesota Extension. Thank you for having me today. I'm excited to talk about the work that we've done and been involved in the past few months. So I'll start off with the Mississippi Valley Cattlemen's Association. They hosted the statewide summer tour on July 15th in Morrison County. It was very successful. It had over 680 attendees. We ended up having to order 3 extra buses because it couldn't fit everybody. So it was really good. Everyone was really happy. There's a strong engagement, a lot of positive feedback from the people involved. So the organizing team was really, really happy about that. Next, there are 2 summer field days held at Bourse Dairy in South Central Minnesota and then Next Gen Dairy in Eden Valley. That had 40 attendees and sessions both in English and Spanish. Dana led, our livestock educator, Dana Adams, led the naval care portion and emphasized how proper care prevents long-term health issues. And the producers rotated through 3 different hands-on stations on cluster management, dehorning and feed management, and PAP onboarding. Next, on August 1st, we hosted the Diversified Field Crops Day at Central Lakes College. This was in partnership with another educator from Ottersville County. It was highlighting alternative crops, dry edible beans, winter camelina, and small grains for the 3 focuses. Experts share agronomic considerations and equipment needs for each crop, and buyers were also present to discuss the economics as well. Participants were given a full picture from production practices to market opportunities of these different alternative crops. On August 16th, we held at the Stearns County Museum a pollinator field day that grew out of Extension's really popular pollinator winter webinar series. The event gave people practical local examples of how to support pollinators in their own spaces. They attended presentations by the NRCS on pollinator habitat establishment, as well as Master Gardener New Berm Project by Joe Storland. Afterward, they had tours of a pollinator garden with the Stearns County Master Gardener team. Next, on August 19th, Meyer Dairy and Stock Center had hosted a 3-hour field day with about 100 attendees. It was on high oleic soybeans. Presenters covered the history of these high oleic soybean varieties, management practices for growing them, and how they can be incorporated into dairy cattle rations. There was a lot of strong interest from both livestock and crop producers in exploring this new ration component. Next, so the Farm to School Virtual Farm Tour project is in partnership with the Morrison County Farm to School Committee. We're making small videos about 5 minutes in length, different schools or farms that are involved with farm to school programs. So we have Foothills Orchard in Little Falls and 2 others in Stearns County, Redhead Creamery, as well as Feathered Acres Farm. The purpose of the project is to introduce students to a variety of different producers who provide food for the Farm to School Month in October, as well as give opportunity to spark curiosity into how these different processes operate. The series is also designed to keep growing. We've got several other farms who want to be lined up for next year. So the plan is to keep it going and do the release during the October Farm to School Month to kind of boost that curriculum regularly. The second annual Agritourism Exchange is also planned for our Central Minnesota area. It was held last year in Duluth, and it was the first time, very successful. And I've worked with a lot of agritourism producers in our area, and everyone, the consensus is they want more places to come and talk with one another. So that's what this is exactly supposed to be. We'll have different panels, breakout sessions, and just opportunities for a lot of networking. So we're very excited about that. Additionally, the Cybersecurity and Ag program is something that we've started up. It is filling a gap. Our Minnesota Extension does not have any content on how to protect yourself online in terms of farm business management, which is a huge hole. There's a lot of risk involved and not a whole lot of conversation about it. And the more I'm learning, it's a huge gap. So the plan is to develop a curriculum that will have in-person classes starting early next year, January, as well as webinars, resources, and then an online course. So the online course will kind of fill role-playing, kind of think cybersecurity trainings through work. Sometimes you have to do patch the risky email kind of thing. And that's the kind of muscles that just have to be built up to protect people online. And yeah, so that is going to be an early rollout 2026. Content will cover like range from safe passwords to best practices to phishing and ransomware and all those the nitty gritty things and how producers can best protect themselves and then their family. Lastly, the Small Farm Startup School is slated for next September 2026, and we'll start a kind of ramp up webinar series monthly, or maybe starting maybe April, May, to kind of drive excitement, get people interested, and usher them to sign up for the 6-week course in the fall. And that's what I have. Yeah, yes, but questions?
Mr. Winter?
Again, thank you, Mr. Chair. It just showed what the 4-H and extension does that you guys keep busy, especially this time of year, with all the commentators. So, thank you for what you do.
How, just so everybody knows, how do people know like your pollinator day and stuff like that?
We've got a lot of people on our email list. We do radio, we do news releases. So we've got a few different avenues that we market that stuff. And we have a Facebook profile and engagement on that. But our big newsletters and the media releases are the main. Yeah.
Anything else, John? Thank you so much for the great update and keep up the good work.
Thank you. You're great.
It was good.
Thanks, Lauren.
Land services.
Amy, your hair looks great.
This is fake. So. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
My name is Nicole Albert, the Land Services Director. I have a couple of things for you today. The first one is to consider the conditional use permit request from Dennis and Ann Toma and Jacob Toma. And this is to expand to a tier 2 beef, chicken, and sheep feedlot. And that would be through constructing 2 poultry barns. This was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission with 2 conditions. The first one is that the property owner shall consult with the feedlot officer to identify suitable soils for manure stockpiling. And the second is the property owner shall plant and maintain a 50-foot wide permanent vegetative buffer around poultry barns.
Very good, gentlemen.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Winter,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Moran. Discussion? Commissioner Winter.
Yeah, again, I attended the meeting. That was one of the best applications that I've seen, that I've watched. So again, that's very important to land services, that these applications be turned out or filled out very appropriately. The board, Planning Commission board, we highly recommend because it seems like it really fits in this area. So again, I'll be voting on this.
And then Shannon from West County Soil and Water over there, she had no problem with it, so that, anything else? Good, we got a motion and a second, discussion, hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried,
Right, thank you, Mr. Chair.
thank you.
And then one other item that I did not have on the agenda for you is we were scheduled to hold a public hearing after the meeting today regarding the naming of a geologic feature. And within statute, there are advertising requirements. We had an advertising snafu where we did not meet those statutory requirements. So it is necessary to postpone that public hearing. And so I'm asking to set the date for the hearing for October 7th. That would be following your regular board meeting, and then we would advertise appropriately for that.
Matt, do we need a motion for that, or
I think that would be good, Mr. Chair.
can we get a motion have a public hearing on October 7th for renaming geological feature? Motion made by Commissioner Casper. Second by Commissioner Blaine. Discussion.
This geological feature is a lake. Yeah, that's what they want.
It's a wetland complex, yes. Mhm.
And the applicant has been made aware of this.
The applicant is aware of this and is available on October 7th.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
and is that motion to have the hearing at 10 o'clock or after the board ends? Is it,
However you'd like to word it,
okay,
Mr. Chair. Well,
if you're good with that, then that's what we'll do then.
all right.
So, Mr. Chair, it'd be following
The
the
board meeting.
regular,
Mhm.
so that's how that should be advertised.
Well,
10 o'clock.
we have to put a time, so we'll put 10 o'clock or at the conclusion of board, whichever is first.
Now we got a motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, Mr. Chair, that's all I have for you today.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Shannon.
Next on the agenda is Sheriff's Report.
Thank you, ma'am.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Board.
Morning,
Sheriff.
Sheriff. Nice to see you.
Good to see you guys. So just to recap, pretty much of July, I guess. And to start off, we always do a few photos. So July was a busy month. Yeah, basically you'll see 5 parades in the month of July. That obviously doesn't include any extracurricular activities as far as community events and stuff like that, but busy month, which is good to get out in the different communities. Yeah, Bolus, Harding, Hillman, Platte River, and Randall were the parades that we were contributed and were present at. The bottom picture, this was coordinated with my chief deputy, Jason Worley, Pat Boone, who is the Camp Ripley Fire and Rescue Chief. Their staff, the chair, Mr. Mike Lemire's staff, they were present at a call in Little Falls with our deputies and our deputies and his staff were awarded pins for their assistance on helping deliver a baby in the city of Little Falls. So we did a short little presentation in our squad room. So it's a good deal for everybody to be part of. Next picture, you'll see Christy Norton Lopez. I think everybody knows by now, but if you don't, she's the new office support supervisor. So she's kind of my main person that I deal with. We're still trying to wrap up and backfill her position, which is a civil process specialist. We did the interviews and now we're just doing the background and I think it's the second week in September that new person will be started. So the next photo is our rec weekend, which was July 12th and 13th. This was done with Scotty Drong, our new jail programmer. He helped coordinate this. He's on the far left of the photo. As everyone's aware, Tim Brummer used to run this and he did a phenomenal job, but Scott is filling in, doing the work, and he's doing a great job as well. We had 23 inmates attend the rec program on July 12th and 13th. So it's a pretty good representation. 24 volunteers attended both days. 16 inmates that were still incarcerated attended the rec reunion, which was a week later. So the next rec weekend is going to be January 10th and 11th. We usually do 2 a year. And credit goes out to Daryl and Bev Welly. They're the rec coordinators and they've been doing this for a number of years as well. Moving through the next page was this highlight training. We had 23 officers attend backup training. And backup training is usually, in this case, it's backup handgun qualifications. So if we're carrying off duty, any weapons that are not our primary weapon, we take a day just to qualify with them. And then the same day, we do our annual shotgun qualification, which is a post-required course, and post stands for Peace Officer Standards and Training. So everyone went through a shotgun qualification shoot as well. Highlighting our criminal complaints. You'll see in that 2 o'clock position, the green sliced pie, if you will. We had 8 damage to property complaints. In that 4 o'clock position, we had harassment complaints. We had 7 of those. 2 of them were harassing communication, 5 were stalking. And then in the 9 o'clock position, the yellow, we had 11 thefts. 5 of those were gas drive-offs, 4 thefts from yard, 1 theft from inside the vehicle, and 1 theft of a trailer. We move on to traffic citations. You'll see we had 20 20 written warnings, 18 speeding tickets that were issued for the month of July, and then 190 verbal warnings. Our 2-year comparison, the numbers adjusted a little bit, but nothing really significant to note. If we move on to our total inmates, Morrison County averaged 17 inmates for the month of July. Beltrami, we averaged 18. And if you remember, we have the 2-year contract with them, which started April 1st, 2025 and runs through April 1st, 2027. So the total population of Beltrami, Morrison County, we averaged 36 inmates for the month of July. Next page will just highlight the out-of-county inmates. We had 36, and the revenue collected was $34,935. That's really all I have. It was a quick, short report, but I'm available for any questions if you have.
Commissioner Moran.
With the jail inmates, does that fluctuate by season sometime? The numbers, this is about the 3rd month in a row where the numbers have been down, I think, quite a bit. Is it a seasonal thing? Is it just maybe things are getting cleaned up? Do you have any?
A lot of times it has to do with the court system, whether or not someone's gonna be incarcerated and or whether or not they're gonna be placed on probation where they don't have to do their jail time. When I started as sheriff back in 2015, I think our numbers were right around the 60, maybe even 70 sometimes. And then it just seemed like the last handful of years, if not more, it's just been really fairly low. Like the number of inmates that we have locally kind of match what we're getting from Beltrami. So that's kind of the way it's been and the trend it's been lately.
And one other thing, on your Facebook page, you made a post about suicide, and it seemed like it's kind of, it's out there. I mean, is a lot of criminal activity involved in this? Or is it just people that are down on their luck and just want to give up?
So yeah, in the last couple of months, one was related to criminal activity. The others was more mental health, talking to other parties that knew the victim, kind of like a shocking event for them. So when we see trends like that, whether it's break-ins, whether it's ATVs, fatalities, traffic complaints, or in this case, mental health, suicide, you see trends, we like to address it, and social media seems to kind of be the best place for that education. But I always look at what can we do better, what can we get out to the public, and I know I work with administration, I work with Health and Human Services, trying to get some numbers, if you will. So if people are feeling depressed and they need some help or guidance, at least they have somewhere to turn. And I just appreciate the workmanship with everybody and here at the government center and being able to get that, because I know it got shared multiple times and there was a lot of eyes on it. And I think that helps. And some people, they need to know where they can go, right? They need to know that there's people available. And so we're doing the best we can.
Thank you.
Mr. Casper?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sean, yes, thank you for that blurb that you've been putting on Little Falls Radio, where we hear that, if you need help with these suicides, it's getting crazy. But I was gonna ask Sean, I see Beltrami, you mentioned spring of 27 contract is done. Is the sheriff's department looking for another slot to fill, being Beltrami is building a new jail currently, understand?
So, yeah, Commissioner, it's a good question. So we're always looking, we don't know if Beltrami will actually be completed by that date. So our first choice is gonna be continue working with them. But as time gets closer and as things evolve and change constantly, our jail administrator will definitely be working with our district, which is District 2, the northeast quadrant of the state, as well as the entire state, to let people know that, hey, we have availability. We're looking for contracts because we don't want to let this go, especially if we have the room, which we do now.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Blaine.
I just wanted to take a second, Sean, earlier at the beginning of our meeting with a great number of your deputies and staff, standing in the back of the room here, and I couldn't help but peruse, all of those individuals and recognizing that there's a number of them that we've had here with you, you've had at the desk. We've recognized them for their work. They've shared experiences. And I have to say, I'm very proud of your staff that you lead, and having them all here in support of Deputy Geisy, obviously it makes a great statement, but I just want to take a second to recognize your leadership and the impact that you have on all of those individuals, both male and female, and that the work that you do. And good things happen when you have good leadership, and you're executing that. And I appreciate Chair for giving me the opportunity to say that to you this morning. So thank you.
And I appreciate that, Commissioner. I always tell people I got lucky. I inherited a great agency, a great department, and I got to work for two great sheriffs. So just to try to follow their foot tracks has been a full-time job, but we do our best. So thank you.
You've hired and developed some great talent in the sheriff's department, and certainly within the jail and that part too. These things don't happen by accident, and one of the things that we don't do enough is we don't say thank you, and we don't recognize those efforts. And I just felt I needed to do that today.
Thank you, Special Mike. Anything else, gentlemen? I just want to say thanks for being with us today, giving us your report. Appreciate everything you do.
Appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Sheriff. Thanks for the good work, Sean.
Mr. Chairs,
Yes.
the sheriff transitions here. I want to circle back to Commissioner Moran and Commissioner Casper. September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and one of our HHS supervisors, Mel Erickson, will likely be coming before the board here next month to discuss further and bring greater awareness to that unfortunate purpose. And then we're also going to do some lighting up of our government center in purple lights to show the support and increase awareness for that effort. So anyway, very timely of Sheriff's Post, and we'll be talking about that here in the weeks coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
Gentlemen, next on the agenda, Health and Human Services Department.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, good morning.
Morning.
Nathan Bertram, Health and Human Services Director. So start, there's a lot of things in the Health and Human Services budget, and that's coming before you all next week on the 2nd.
in discussing some of the proposals and ideas I have with Administrator LeBlanc, it was decided to pull this out and just bring this separate for discussion and the walkthrough, and no formal decision needed today. Just looking for your input and guidance on how you'd like Health and Human Services to move forward. To start, so I started about 2.5 years ago now, and kind of evaluating Health and Human Services and what we had for technology and systems. As you're aware, I came from Crow Wing. During my time there, we had 2 different BDMS systems, which I'll describe that a little bit more detail later. And both improve efficiency in our work with the consumers and residents. And so after getting here, after about a year evaluating this last year, I've spent some time with the management team, as well as Amy Mittendorf has been a part of some meetings, just demoing some different systems. Caseworks or NCT here, Next Chapter Technologies was one of them. I feel that it's probably best fitted for what our needs are. Another one we explored was Northwoods has a product out. And then Base also has a product out as well. But so I'll jump into this. So Next Chapter Technologies and their product for this governmental side of things is called Caseworks. Thus far, 65 out of 87 counties use Caseworks across the state, so that's about 3/4 of them, which is a lot. And so I think when I'm looking for vendors, I think current and past proven benefits is probably the best predictor of future benefits and working relationships. And so I think they've done that across the state. They work closely with DHS and BCYF at the state level as well. And so really what they do, you want to flip is electronic document management. And so that really is just the system of how we store all our data. So Child Support has all their documents. I know Bonnie was up here a couple weeks ago presenting. Social workers, we have ROIs or releases of information, the 90s acronyms. We have the documentation, we have case plans, we have all these documents that go into a case file. Case file could be a couple hundred documents. Some lengthy case files could be thousands of pages of documents. And this really is a system that helps efficiently organize and distribute them, and then breaks them into the categories. So when staff need to find an ROI or release of information, they're not digging through 100 different ones to find the most current version of that. Our current product right now is App Extender, which is used countywide. And it really is more of a generalized repository is kind of how I would state it. You know, we have it broken into some categories, but there's limitations to what we can do with that system. Okay, so I believe Administrator LeBlanc shared this in a weekly update to you. And this is my attempt to work with the management team and the staff at HHS to be apprised of kind of some of these changes that are coming and kind of the time frame they're doing. I feel like there's been so many things thrown out, it gets hard to kind of track when things are falling in line. And so specifically to this presentation, what we're talking about today, I would point out the pink or salmon color, whatever color you can call that. And I think roughly in that 27 kind of area where 10/1/26 and 27 start, there's a couple things to draw attention to. Probably the biggest one is those case numbers in the 27 column where I can't quite read that. It's 20, I think 2,500 or 2,300 2,300, and I think the bottom one is 2,500. So right now, as those systems work in the financial worker area or economic supports, we process those applications once a year. The federal mandate is gonna be that we review those every 6 months. So in essence, that doubles the work on the financial worker teams. And that's a little bit to be concerned about. We get a little bit of time to do some planning, and part of this proposal is part of that. The other part I would draw attention to would be the error rates on the SNAP, and I think it's 29. That also starts to occur on the MA side of things. I can't say definitively how the state is gonna transfer any of those SNAP error rate costs to the county. I think a lot of that is still a little unknown, and we haven't got guidance from the federal government or the state government on how that extra cost is gonna be absorbed. Are they gonna pass it to the county? Is the state gonna take some portion of that? That I can't speak to. What I can speak to is the error rates, and in the effort to reduce error rates, a system like this that is easy to organize and pass cases to workers across the county as well as across other counties will make a huge difference.
Yeah, and sorry, Mr. Chair, and Nate, you're referring to this error rate, and the percentage of error rate, it would correspond to the amount that's passed on or not reimbursed.
Correct.
And that's in this box.
And if I may, I'll just elaborate on that. The error rate. So I've looked into this since this came to fruition. So the error rates are really tricky to kind of navigate. They pull a small sample size, so they pull 2 to 4 cases from Morrison County. And the error rate is not based off of, let's say we have 1 case in 4 that has an error in it, so that'd be 25%. It's based on the dollars of error out of the total. So if we issued $1,000 in benefits and $100 of that issued was in an error, that'd be 10% error rate. So it's kind of wonky that way, and I wish they did a bigger sample size. I looked at our last couple years. I think there was 2 years we were at 0%, and 1 year we were at 30, just because they happened to pull a case that was at an error in it, and that's where we're at. And that was historical stuff from 23, 24. So for
So the salmon color, that represents dollars that might be going out from us or costing us dollars?
So the salmon colored is really the parts focused on like the financial worker side of things. The grayish color, that will affect HHS too, but that will be social services side or the case management side of things. For what I'm gonna propose as a potential way to roll this out, the salmon colors I think are more pertinent at this point. That's why I wanted to pull those out and draw them to the front.
Now, are you saying that the software is gonna assist you with these particular ones that you're pointing out to us?
Mr. Chair, yes, I do believe that these software will help us position as far as error rates and as far as managing the extra caseload with potentially having to review 5,000 more documents a year on those teams.
Biannually instead of annual on that?
Yes, for the 6-month review periods instead of a year.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner.
question I have, again, I know this is just the beginning of that kind of federal bill, the big beautiful bill that was passed. In there, they're making it tougher for people to qualify for SNAP and sort of. Is that gonna eliminate maybe more applications because, hey, you know what, they're checking on me, I know I can't be collecting it, for now, maybe they can, again, I'm just throwing it out there. Will that help for less applications, less people coming and applying? I don't know, that's a tough question, I guess, but that's my guess, is that's what's gonna make it more efficient for the counties, is that we're just gonna have less applicants. Now I think we've got more people that apply that do get it, that probably should be.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Winter. Yeah, it's kind of a twofold thing. I think, here are the pieces that first come to my mind. One, so the work verifications, also increases workload on the financial workers, because again, we have to monitor that and try to verify their work schedule and how much they are or aren't making. So that will add work. I think, will some people be ineligible? Yes, I definitely think that's true, but I also think we're gonna see more people dropping off because 1 month they might have worked and then the next month they don't because they're not well suited for certain works. And so I actually think we'll probably see more turnover of applications with probably less overall people. If you're tracking kind of what I'm trying to say. So I think, yes, and I guess, so yes, I think there'll be some less, but I think we'll see more actual applications coming.
How does the EDMS system intertwine with the SSIS?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Moran. So Caseworks, and I haven't got into all the nuts and bolts on everything yet. It is integrated with the state systems, integrated. And so it can pull, which is actually on the next slide I have, so autofill is a part of it. So it pulls parts out of the state systems where it can. And so like, for example, I'll use release of information again, because we've been talking about those. Let's say I pull one for John Doe, and it's in his case file. All his demographic stuff is going to come up in this system. So it's going to save workers time. We're not going to put the name and not put date of birth. We're not going to have to put social security address. That's all going to come pre-populated on the form. So essentially then we're just going to have to work with John Doe and saying, we need to talk to this person, are you okay with that? If you sign. And so that is a part of it. To some extent, SSIS is too old in my mind to really be able to do some of the interfacing. I think that most counties would hope for it, but
Just the legislator, $35 to $40 million to revamp this SSIS system. It's going to take a while, but you would think they would put something like this in with it,
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Moran. I don't know if we have a clear picture of what their plan is for that. So currently in SSIS, so there's multiple programs that run out of SSIS on the social service side or the social worker side. Really, it was built as a children's system or a child protection system. And so they're the only case plans mandated to be in there right now. And they're very tedious and redundant and not very efficient. Talking with the state and some partners down at MAXA, which is the Social Service Directors Association. There's some concerns about how this SSIS funding is all going to come together. I think, the initial estimate for that program at the state level was over 100 million, and we have roughly 40 million. And there's some concern that children's is going to end up with a new system, and the adult side of the world is going to end up fractured and still in social or SSIS. But we're kind of getting off topic, and I'm certainly willing to have these discussions and talk about them, but I don't know how that's gonna interplay. And to some extent, when I looked at programs and when I see that 3/4 of the state is using Caseworks, I think there's been enough investiture at the county level in this program that I don't see how the state wouldn't be able to work with Caseworks in the future to keep providing this service, because counties across the state have put millions into this system for their own use.
Commissioner Blaine, is that good, Commissioner Moran?
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Blaine?
So, kind of getting back to thrust of things here, you know, the, desire then is to shift our system to this Caseworks, system. So I have to, and I understand, and the map there is good, you know, we have 3/4 of the counties that are utilizing this system. I assume that you've had contact with colleagues who've used this system. You have investigated their critique of this system, the things that it can do, the things that it can't, and how this would work for us here. I have to ask, because there's been you know, this whole issue of managing information, whether it's on the state level, the federal level, and then how does that affect counties and counties' participation? That this issue has been going on, and this discussion's been going on since before I came on the county board. But when I look at an opportunity to find efficiencies out there and in a plan like this, how long have these counties been utilizing? Do we have a big enough time sample of Caseworks? You know, has this been around for more than a year, you know, a couple of years, or whatever, that you know, some of the bugs have been taken out of this, and that what we see and what we understand is what we will get with this. Your thoughts on that thing?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Blaine, I know there's some concerns with that, with other things going on across the county. I think so, would have been slide 2, but you know, they've been doing this for 18 years, and they haven't lost the customer. And so I feel pretty confident in talking with my counterparts, and most of them whoever, like, yeah, it was kind of a game changer for us. It wasn't that slide.
Yeah, it's here.
Okay.
Yeah, and thank you, and I seen that too, and I recognize that. So, you know, and thank you for reminding me of that. And I don't want to jump ahead to what we'll discuss necessarily in the budget meeting with this, but I would have to make the assertion that the reason that we're not a green county on this map is because of the cost of the investment.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner. Yes, I mean, there is significant long-term investment in this, and it's a not cheap program. And I think now might be a good spot to jump through the next couple of slides, and I can get you the kind of the initial projections, and we can just talk briefly about some of that, which probably will help, I think, with that.
And Nate, if I may be asking those or leading into that too, and if that wasn't a part of where you were planning to go today, and that was going to be part of our budget discussion, you know, I certainly respect that.
No,
whatever
we're right on track, and I'm good with where we're at, and I brought it here for your input and guidance on which direction I should head from here. So return on investment. So these are some of the things that I've been able to gather, talking with some of the other counties and Caseworks, and just gleaning kind of where other counties have maybe saved time and effort. So autofill form history. I talked a little bit about some of that. Candy, Ojai has 1.5 to 2 hours per reassessment. They're doing 2,000 assessments a year. I went and pulled the numbers just for comparison. We were roughly 600 assessments a year. So that's 900 hours a year potentially. Staff time. Homestead County, This one was more on the healthcare side, and e-signatures that this program has the capability to do through email. Hard to compare us to Olmsted County. The only way I could see doing it, they have a population of 162,000, we're at 34,000 roughly, it was 21%. I figure we'll save an hour, a month comparatively in that area. Merge for mail, I didn't have a real good way to put that one in Morrison County. Essentially what merge for mail is let's say I have a client in Motley, and I need him to fill out release information, a HIPAA form, and like 2 other healthcare applications. I can literally go into the system, check the box on those 3. It comes out with a cover letter, those 3 documents printed and ready to just stick in the mail and go. Don't have to jump through different files and look for the different docs, and they come out pre-auto-filled with his name on or her name. And then the case file transfer. So this is one, I think, another reason probably more to go with Caseworks over another one. So when we transfer files in and out of Morrison County, some of these documents on the financial worker side, again, might be 1,000-something pages long. When we get them, they're in a big bulk PDF. Office support has to sit there and pick them apart as best they can to try to put into a file. And then a financial worker gets the file and they might need to find 1 or 2 documents. So they're digging through chunks of 100 documents looking for, their 1 document they need to maybe finish the application out. When files transfer in Caseworks, because I'll call it the taxonomy, how you organize your documents is the same across the counties. All those documents that transfer to a Caseworks county automatically just populate in the different spots and doesn't take anyone any time other than hit accept transfer. And just to the point of error rates, so we just had one of our MA audits. The only case that we had a small error in was one that came from a case file transfer from a different county. And to some extent, the error wasn't even made in our county because we got it because it transferred to us at that time. So, go to the next slide. This I didn't break out specifically. So auto send copy, easy to kind of include others and documents that you're working on. So if we're working across multiple teams, autofill forms I've hit on a couple times. Subscriptions and claim case is more about workflow and how we can work stuff with our case banking and the financial worker systems. And so there can be multiple people watching for updated documents to come into a client's file. And then they can claim the case, and then all documents for that person go to that worker's pool, and they can process it and move on with their day. And probably one of the biggest things I thought was nice was the resident portal. Again, this is, if we need signed documents back, we can send them a link, kind of like what your bank does essentially with some of the new document signing technology they have. So we can send somebody a link to their email. There's some authentication that happens with that, and they're able to sign whatever document right there and send it back to us, taking the mail and a longer process and truncating it down maybe into less than a day. So cost. As I mentioned before, it's a significant investment. And so just so you kind of know how I potentially penciled this in. So Health and Human Services has its own reserve fund balance for programs related to health and human services. That is at the upper threshold of what the state auditor recommends. And working with Derek, what I would propose is year 1 implementation would be taken from fund balance. So that would be the 81,000. And then ongoing would be the ongoing cost then of roughly 40,000 to 45,000. It kind of bumps up year after year by about 5% there. And you see the total and total after federal reimbursement, without getting into some of the nuts and bolts too deep. Usually, on the federal, on the financial worker side and child support. So child support, we get roughly 60 to 66% back of costs that we put in at a county level. And on the financial worker side, it's usually 48, 49%. And so those three teams would be the first teams to merge into the system in preparation for some of those federal changes. And so that's what that looks like. What Caseworks proposed as a proposal, so going back and forth with them, they were willing to do 20% off with each module, contingent that we did financial worker and social services at the same time. I said, I don't know that that's a 1-year bite for Health and Human Services or Morrison County. They agreed to split it out into 2 years. And we don't have any formal contract to review today, but what they propose is they would put it in there as contingent on 2027 budget approval to move social services into that. And so what I am proposing I feel best situate Health and Human Services for upcoming changes is just, we'll get the contract and look at those details, work through that when the time comes, but I would propose to roll the financial worker teams and the child support teams into Caseworks in 2026. And then we'll see what things may, I guess, for 2027 and looking at social services and if that's doable. You want to turn the page, the social services side, because the reimbursements from the federal government are not the same, is more money, quite significantly from what it costs in the financial worker systems. On the social services side, we see about 15% reimbursement on some of those programmatic costs. And so that implementation is 197,000 with about 106,000 on average ongoing costs for 5 years. So it's a significant investment. I think looking at workload, error rates, determination, and how we look to continue maintaining and managing current staff levels. I think this is one solution strategy to try to manage the work, I think, in the coming years. And with that, I think that your input and where you'd like to see this go, if this is something you'd like to keep exploring, I'll keep working down that process. If it's something we're not interested in, then I will work on taking that out of our budget before next week with Derek and not have it in there.
Kevin? I just got a couple of questions. As my colleagues think about what they want to ask you. You know, when we say reimbursement, we still have to, like, first year, instead of 81, 470, 457, do we pay the 183 and then get reimbursed, right? So we'd have to put the higher number into our budget, correct?
Yeah, and that's what's in there, and then the revenues also
on the other side
as well.
And then, just so I'm clear, if we do this top one and this bottom one together, they'll give us 20% off the price? Is that what you said?
In conjunction, yes, Mr. Chair. So, but it would be in 2 different steps. That was how we got the 20% off. I didn't know what the appetite would be, and to some extent, doing both in 1 year just seems like a lot anyway. And the fact that they were willing to spread it out over 2 years and still give us a 20% discount, I thought was pretty generous of them. Initial talks, I was trying to talk to some of the other counties surrounding, We don't have caseworks, but they have their own budget concerns as well. And so,
It's a bad year. But whatever, that's beside the point. I know. So if we reenact, if we, do get this new system, how about training? How do we go about training the individuals to completely do something different?
excuse me.
We'll provide that.
Mr. Chair, so. And this document, which again, if this is something we want to move forward with, I certainly would probably come back to the planning session. We can talk through this too, but that's their whole implementation, process and schedule. To some extent, it's a moot point if we don't want to consider it. And so I don't want to bog us down with that, but they have a pretty, robust, and at this, after 60 some other counties, they have a pretty good process of kind of how you roll through your current documents and how you bring on your workers and train them. They're on site for a couple weeks and hands-on training. Then most of it after that is more virtual style.
And then, is it a 5-year contract? Is that what you want off for 5 years? Or,
Mr. Chair, Caseworks, yes, typically does 5-year agreement. The ongoing costs, one thing I didn't touch on was the ongoing cost. So as a part of that, they manage all your documents for you. So as documents change at the state level, that EDOCs, they got all kinds of numbers, 5181. Anyway, they make sure all those are updated for you when they get updated, and that way all states are using, or all counties are using the updated documents from the state. So that is part of the ongoing, and then this as well as kind of the tech support, making sure the program is working as it should. And
then I got a probably a dumb question, but, we updated software before, and then we have to redo all our servers because we don't have enough, memory or whatever the hell they hold. Are we gonna have to do that if we implement this? Because I imagine this must be a pretty big software upgrade.
Mr. Chair, so, Amy Middendorf has been involved in some of the meetings, not all of them. But there didn't seem to be concern on her side at the current time. I think 40 of the counties have kind of the on-site server method. There's about 25 who are using a government cloud storage base. Caseworks was kind of proposing that route if that's what we were to move forward with.
And I got one more question. FSE, what does that stand for?
That's the financial eligibility
And
workers.
then M, the MSC and CSC. I just,
Well, those are Caseworks acronyms.
sorry.
Okay. CSE is child support,
Okay.
FS financial support, and I'm assuming MS is like your Medicaid or MA
Okay.
support.
Well, to be totally honest with you, I don't know what I think about moving forward. That's my, I know it's coming out of your reserves, but it's still, I just don't know what to think. I'm not a yes or a no. And Mr. Winter,
Thank you. So let's go to the financial entities. Explain to me, you have a number of 267 after federal reimbursement on this one page 55. And then you have on page 56, you have 650,000 after federal reimbursement. Explain the difference between them two to me.
So the 765 and 650. So that is the total broke out over the 5 years. And the total after federal reimbursement. So usually like this is looking at the social worker side. So on that side of things, it's usually about a 15% reimbursement we get off of expenditures. To some extent, it's the same as if we were to buy a car for the social workers, parts of that come back to us in revenues because the way the time study works at the state, and this is getting into the weeds too, it goes off your total cost pool. And so total expenditures we have, then that 15% is based off of that. So we buy a car and it goes up 30,000, we get roughly 15%, you know what I mean?
That's fine there. Other few questions I have, with the $270,000 on page 55, does that include licensing or not? Is there an annual license, you know? Normally every software update, everything like that, I don't see that. Oh, there it is, fully read-only and user license.
Yep, those license costs, that's in that.
Okay, it's in that.
That's in the total line at the bottom, but yeah, it's way up there at the top or the license.
And then, going into page 53, you have all the hours that you would save. Again, this is, estimates. If we implement the system, with the system we currently have, question one is how long have we had that system? Do you have any idea? Question two is some of these counties that they had a dinosaur system that, yeah, we're forced to kind of go on this, what they picked. And I'm gonna throw the toughest one at you. With these savings, I'm looking at some of these counties like Blue Earth, they're about our double our size county. Doing the math, you're gonna save quite a few hours, like you said. Does that mean that we're gonna save employees too?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Winter.
Go ahead.
I think I'm gonna defer to maybe Matt or Tabitha on how long we've been in Apex. I don't know that, and I did not look for that number.
Again, that's not important, but I'm just maybe looking at these other counties that they are such a old program, maybe even older than we had, so. And then I guess now that you brought that up, you said that if we don't kind of give you a positive attitude or it's positive on this, what's the consequences that we stay with the old one too? So, a lot of questions in there, see what you can do.
So, yes, there's a lot of answers in there. To start, I guess. So all the time saved, do we get to look at reducing staff or not? Potentially. Until we kind of get our systems in there and rolling with our population, I don't want to definitively say that. What I will say is caseloads are already high. And so rather than looking to add staff, this might be a good way to manage some of the growing design and the growing mandates from the state and federal government to review more documents and process more things. So there's that tidbit. What other counties have done? You know, a lot of counties before they rolled into this system, some had paper. Some had Apex, just like we did before we rolled in, and they managed with that until they move forward with this system. What if we're stuck with the same system? I think, interestingly enough, I was talking to a neighbor about that this weekend. I referenced that I can till the same amount of acres with a John Deere 730 and a 12-foot disc, but it's going to take me a lot longer. And it's gonna be a rough ride. And you just can't do it as well and as quick and move on to the next step in your process. And so can we manage with Apex? We certainly can figure out a way to do that. But I don't know, next year sitting at this budget with some of these increased work demands or 27 when some of the applications have to be reviewed twice a year. We could be back there having a discussion about staff.
Anything else?
One question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Grants. Can we get grants? Have you seen grants, found grants, anything like that?
I think there's some opportunity for that. You know, and I kind of toyed around with that in my head, but I can't put the cart before the horse either, because if this isn't something you're supporting and wanting me to look further into, I don't want to apply for grants and then be like, no, we're not going to move forward with that now. And so I think there is the potential to find some grants. I don't know if it will cover that full amount, but I do believe there is opportunity there.
I yield back to you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Casper.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Nate, and I'm sure I missed it, but what is the cost of Apex currently?
Of Apex?
Or Apex?
So roughly, I think for Health and Human Services, right around 30 or 36,000, and that's for Midway
Per year?
per year for licenses, and those would reduce. After we get established, we'd probably need a handful for historical files. That would be 5-ish.
That you would have to maintain
Yeah, just
because of your.
because we wouldn't look to move all, whatever, 1 million documents into new systems and when we just slipped in the historic system.
I understand. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions, commissioners?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Blaine?
So, Nate, I'm grasping the concept here. I'm not looking to dive into the weeds on what goes on necessarily in the office. Because that's not what we do or what I do, but, so I look at this, and recognize the fact that there will always be opportunities to engage into changes in technology that make us more efficient, more effective, as we go into the future, and recognizing this isn't the first department within county government that has come to us to look at updating software. And we all recognize that those things come at a cost. I think we sometimes put an undue amount of emphasis on how this affects staff. Makes the staff more efficient, we can get more done, these kinds of things. I just want to state so we all understand this too. At the end of the day, we're here to serve the people of the county. So we look at making these investments in the sense that the people that we serve, we're able to serve them in a more timely fashion, a more effective fashion, and one that's justifiable and equitable. In other words, these investments help us eliminate fraud, eliminate abuse, to get the help to the people that need it most at the rate that they deserve in a timely manner. All that being said then, and this may be that part for when we get together in the budget part of this, is so I'm just doing the simple math on this, we're looking at about $920,000 investment over 5 years. It's about 100, rough math, it's about $180K a year. That doesn't figure. So some of the things I want to throw this out there, not for an answer today, but to help you to prepare for when we meet budget wise. So that's how I'm looking at that right now from with my fiscal hat on. You mentioned there's the opportunity for 20% savings on part of this. I'm not sure if that covers just, and you're talking about a 2-year period, whether that covers the entire 5-year contract. What does that 20% entail? And what would those savings look like in numbers? I think that's important for us. Like I said, I don't necessarily need that right now. We're also going to want to look at what your department's cash reserves are. You mentioned utilization of some of those reserves to address this, the impact of what that means. How much you have, how much you're willing to use now to step into year 1 or year 2,
and or how that would play over this 5-year contract, what kind of expectations would be there. So that we have a better understanding if we were to move forward with this and be supportive of this, that we would know then over the next 5 years, we may be looking at, let's say, a 0.5% of a levy hit, you know, or a third of a percent of a levy hit, or X percent, whatever that is. So that we have realistic numbers that help us as a board manage this fiscally going forward. And so for me, from the fiscal management side, those are just on first blush with this. Yeah, you know, it would be things that I'll be kind of expecting when we get together and do budget. I need to be transparent and upfront with you to help you prepare for us, so we can answer those questions. And then any other opportunities on especially on the SSE side, you know, that's the more expensive side, and the impact of that too. I will say that, tell you right up front, I'm not against looking at these, but I also recognize that we have to certainly make sure we understand the fiscal implications of actions we take, not only initially, but especially over a 5-year contract. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Commissioner Blaine, just, so I would be proposing, if we were to move forward, is to use fund balance for both of the implementation years. I didn't reference that, I think, earlier at one point. And then the ongoing costs would be kind of what we'd have to work out in the budget. So potentially it would be, or eventually if both subscriptions went through, it'd be 140 to 150,000 annually for ongoing costs.
And thank you for that, Nate. You know, and I think, you know, part of the other thing that we have to realize and recognize here too is, you know, unless I'm misunderstanding this, but you know, we're trading one system for another. So we'll discontinue use to whatever degree of App Extender. We will, you know, we should recognize we'll have some savings there, or a cost that we're incurring now that won't exist or get replaced with another cost. And so the 140 may be 112 or X or whatever. And I think those are the more finite numbers that we need to recognize, and that in fairness are to you is what is reality at the end. But that too, we're covering a lot of ground here, and I want to make sure that when we get into that budget process, we get to a point where we see, you know, final cause and effect. You know, if we make this investment, where do we see cost savings? You know, that are hard dollar cost savings. We have this because we don't have this, and we recognize those.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Moran.
so is it an option to just have the top half with those 3 subscriptions alone and not have the bottom half? We just wouldn't get the 20% discount?
That would be accurate.
Do you feel the top half would save a significant amount of time with employees? And
I feel that that's gonna kind of, well, I feel that it's probably what the financial workers are gonna need to keep up with double the info coming in. Also, I think looking at error rates and how case transfers come in, I think there's some concerns in it as well.
And then somewhere I heard that you might want to add an employee maybe for half of the year to get ready for the act, which is the 27. You think that would save enough to eliminate that employee?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Moran, that's a little bit further down the budget discussion on the second. I don't think that we would be able to step away from that position. But we can wait and see certainly and see how things play out. The act starts January of 2027 as it is slotted now. With this proposal, even if we were gonna roll social services into this, that would be starting in 2027 sometime as well, so. Doesn't line up quite perfectly there, really. No, I think. I look more at maybe is there the ability to reduce maybe staffing and office support if we do this and finagle some other things. I think we could look at that probably more easily than a social worker looking at the app. Again, until we're kind of up and running and implemented and those cost savings and time are there, then it's hard to evaluate for sure.
What kind of timeline are you looking at for this?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Moran, the current timeline we've been talking about with CaseWorks is, if you were supportive and if we budgeted, signing the contract still sometime in this year, again, come back for your approval. And it would start implementation sometime in 26, for the financial worker, child support areas. And then in 27, if that second tail end was approved, then that would start in 27 for the social services side.
Sure.
Yes.
And just for the board and, I'll just state it, the process, when reviewing Nate's budget, when Kurt and I sat down, this obviously jumped out. That's why I asked him to come forward today. I figured it would turn into a good, discussion leading into him coming to budget committee next week on the 2nd. So that was intentional. Obviously, there's a broader discussion about HHS's budget as a whole, the cost shift, cost share, and preparing for and responding to potential other increases that he laid out in his timeline. And then some of that crystal ball reading and then trying to anticipate that and position and posture ourselves as an organization. But the process, next on the 2nd, Nate will come back for his budget. Board sets preliminary by the end of September. The budget can go down, it can go up, and the final budget's approved in December. They just mentioned entering into a contract sometime here in 25, if this was the direction. My point being is that at any point along the way, this could come out until the end of December or until that contract is entered into. So just for your consideration, like Nate said, not coming to you today to enter into a contract, but to just introduce this topic as we may come back to it next week. But there's plenty of opportunity to pull this out at some point in the process.
Any questions? Thanks. We need some time to digest.
That's perfectly fine. Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. Good job.
Have a good game.
Public Works.
Morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Tony Hunter, Public Works Director, County Engineer.
Good morning, Tom.
All right, I've got a handful of contracts I'm gonna be looking to start filing out. Our construction season has progressed nicely. These are some of our earlier contracts in the year. Our work's completed and our engineering staff kind of has a little lull here, so we're starting to final things out. So our first one here, I'm looking for a resolution to get the final payment on contract 316 This is with Marvin Shredder. This was our CASA 46 box culvert projects, and then the joint box culvert with Blue Township. They finished this work in early July. The seeding has all taken place. We finalized the NOT on that project. Contract itself was originally let at $1.184 million. And our certified work today is just under 1.15. So we reached the completion of this contract at 97% of the actual contract letting. So a few of our items underran, which was good. And we saw a little bit of savings there. The box culverts turned out to be a nice project, a massive upgrade to what was there, much safer for the Lord of our traveling public. So I'd request the board to authorize resolution to issue certificate of final payment to Marvin Shredder.
I'd make a motion. Then.
Motion made by Commissioner Casper,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Winter. For contract P16, discussion. Hearing none, this will be a roll call. Commissioner Casper.
Aye.
Commissioner Winter.
Aye.
Commissioner Moran.
Aye.
Myself, Commissioner Lemire. Aye. Commissioner Blaine.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, our second one here, this is for our contract 317. This was with Anderson Brothers Construction. This was our big reconstruction project on CASA 1, in by the Lake Alexander area from Bear Road or CASA 5, about 4 miles north. Turned out to be a great project, so this corridor has significant miles that are substandard to state aid standards. And this was the first 4 miles of this corridor as we work north towards Pillager, reconstructing those shoulders. The event through the project turned out really nice. We have a wider paved shoulder, very nice inslopes. Improved some areas that had some interesting dips that we dug out. Overall, the contract finished in July. This was bid let at just over $2.4 million. Our work certified to date is just over 2.3 million. So again, we're just underneath our full bid letting. So we had some contract items underrun. This came in at 97.7% of that actual letting dollar value. I'd request the board to authorize resolution of a certificate of final payment of contract 317 with Anderson Brothers.
Any motion second, commissioners?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll make a second. Motion made by Commissioner Moran, second by Commissioner Blaine for contract 317. Discussion. Hearing none, this is a roll call. Commissioner Winter.
Aye.
Commissioner Moran.
Aye.
Myself, Commissioner Lemire. Aye. Commissioner Blaine.
Aye.
Commissioner Casper.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Our next one here, this is our contract 318 with Knife River. This was our County Road 256 and 160th Ave. This was a joint project with Little Falls Township. If you're familiar with this road, this road runs by the John Deere dealer just east of Little Falls here. Nice project, a big pavement improvement project. About half of this is Morrison County's and our 256, other half is owned by Little Falls Township. We had grant funds on this. It's a federal project. This project wrapped up kind of mid-July there, and it turned out quite nice. This was originally let at $657,000, and the work certified on that came in at $633,000, so just underneath our bid letting again. We were at 96.39% of the letting cost of some underrunning items. So I request the board to issue a resolution for certificate of final payment on contract 318 to Knife River Corporation.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Moran,
Second.
second by Commissioner Casper. Discussion. Hearing none, this will be a roll call. Commissioner Moran.
Aye.
Myself, Commissioner Lemire. Aye. Commissioner Blaine.
Aye.
Commissioner Casper.
Aye.
Commissioner Winter.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And our final one was our maintenance striping contract. So this is a request of final contract 2501 with Camco Inc. This is our maintenance striping we performed here on our county roads. As you're aware, we try to do about a third of the county every year. Striping is one of the larger safety items that we do inside of our contract, and it makes a lot of difference having fresh striping. So Camco originally led this project at $184,000 and $184,658. So, just shy of 185. This contract actually ran just a bit over. So we came in at 100.15%. So 0.15% over. We probably ended up including a little bit of extra striping if we saw some areas that we touched up. And then we had some patches throughout the county that we performed some striping onto.
What's the wish of the board?
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Blaine, second by Commissioner Winchell. Discussion? Just want to say good job on all of these, on coming in under a budget.
No, Mr. Chair, I appreciate that. Again, we have a fantastic engineering staff. You know, they perform a lot of our design work in-house. And then we actually do all the supervising those projects. So they actually inspect the projects as we go. So our engineering department wears all the hats. So pretty neat. And I've talked about them in the past, but we're very blessed to have them inside of our county. It saved us a lot of money where we could be having consultant on this stuff out. So pretty good to have that. But I'll definitely pass it along to our staff. They've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, no, Commissioner Levere, you kind of beat me to the punch there. You know, I wrote this down, you know, we're 3% under on average, a full 3% under on three large projects. And then, and, you know, striping, in my mind, that's like being almost spot on, you know. That doesn't happen by accident, and it shows, as Tony said, you know, and you have good engineers and good staff overseeing these projects. That's how we get this stuff done under budget. And you know, this to me is great news. It's a great message to take back to the residents. And when they see all this work being done in the county, and they talk about, well, what does this cost? You know what? It costs us less than what it was bid to cost us, because we're riding herd on getting things done. And then plus the fact that for some of these that I have had the pleasure to drive on and go see tremendous improvements. Great work.
Any further discussion? Mr. Casper?
Mr. Chair, just real quick, Tony, you're to be commended and your staff as well. Make sure you pass that from the commissioners.
So I appreciate that, sir.
You're very welcome.
Again, we got a motion and a second for contract 2501 to be a roll call. Myself, Commissioner Mears, aye. Commissioner Blaine.
Aye.
Commissioner Casper.
Aye.
Commissioner Winchell.
Aye.
Commissioner Moran.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Tony.
That's all I have unless there's any other questions.
Mr. Chair, just a
Mr.
quick
Casper?
question. Tony, can you refresh our memory? When is the road signage going to start being replaced? Because I get calls on that because of the faded signs.
Are you referring to the township sign or the road labeling signs?
Yes, yes.
So we've started that project already.
Okay.
So we've broken county essentially into 5 different areas. They don't quite line up with your commissioner district, but they're pretty close. Mainly we took larger arteries and split it apart and tried to balance our signs. So actually 2 have been completed at this point. We'll be moving into the 3rd next year. We did overrun a little bit on that line item this year to get ahead of some other stuff. Other thing that kind of happens in the background, outside of these project costs, we also replace the signs when we redo the roads. So your speed limit signs, your stop signs, all those signs, when we come through and do the pavement through that area, we'll update those signs as well. They kind of follow a similar program if they don't get hit or stolen or something like that. So our typical pavement life's 15 to 20 years. Typical sign life's about 15 to 20 years. The green signs, they just really faded fast this past year. And we've seen them fail universally across the county because they're all installed at the same time. So as we go through this replacement process, we're spreading it across 5 years, so we don't have such a large cost initially. And we've been partnering with the townships. We have had some townships reach out and ask if they want to do themselves. We provided the specs and they can piggyback onto our order to kind of get a volume discount. Otherwise, they can just wait until we get to them.
Very good. So, thank you, Tony. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Anything else? Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day.
Good use of the Bambino for us.
All right, should we do schedules first, Matt?
Again, Mr. Chair, and I have 2 other items before
Okay.
presenting the resolution here for closed session. First is regarding our historical courthouse roof. During our annual spring inspection, when we have somebody go up and take a look at the roof, it was identified that there was hail damage on our historical courthouse. And
We believe the damage dates back to a storm that took place August 3rd of 2024. That claim has been submitted to our insurance. Excuse me, I'm a little bit ahead. It went out for quote. I put before you the two quotes we received back. One from Castreba Tuck Pointing and Roofing, the other from Pro Peak. Pro Peak is about $2,000 more expensive. However, also of note, the cheaper of the two could not be done until spring of 26, which our roof is compromised and then could result in further damaging of our historical courthouse. These two quotes were submitted to our carrier, MCIT. MCIT did agree to the more expensive of the two quotes with Pro Peak Construction. There's no action needed to come before the board. This is an insurance claim. We have a $1,000 deductible. MCIT will come forward with about $100,000 toward that repair, and then we'll reimburse the remaining $67,000 or $68,000 upon completion of the project. Our roof was 18 years old, although it might seem like it was just redone yesterday. It was getting right there, so it would have been something we'd have been talking about here in about 2 to 3 years. But based on the hail damage, we plan to address it here this fall. So if the public sees construction on the roof, that's where that came from. Questions there? All right. And the second item is another piece of correspondence that I thought was pretty neat. And I took a picture here I wanted to share. And if I may read the letter, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Our auditor treasurer received a mailing this week and it had this postcard in it. And I've got it here, but I wanted to just put it up so you could see it. But it's pretty neat, and it's dated August 13th, 2025, Ms. Shannon Coyle, Morrison County Auditor, with our address. Good morning. Some time ago, I was at an antique store and found this circa 1911 picture card of your beautiful courthouse. Lots of changes, I suppose. How it wound up here in California is a mystery. At any rate, I hope it brightens your day. I said to myself, by golly, I think I'll send it back to where it can be appreciated. Heritage is important. Enlarged and posted up, it will start a nice conversation. Well, I gave $6 for it, so if you want it for 7 or 8, it would be appreciated. Toss in a little postage if you can. My dear wife, now passed, used to laugh at me and say, if you hear from those folks, you'll have to take me to lunch. On June 26th, I celebrated my 97th birthday. I don't know where all the time went, but I'm still going strong as far as I know. I like to call my little hobby a redistribution of happiness. Our world sure needs it. All the best to you and your staff, Lowell Jorg. And that comes to us from Stockton, California. P.S. My daughter says you should look at me on Google. I'll pull that up. Here he is. Personally, I never look at it anymore because she says it might give me a big head. P.S. Sure, I enjoy a souvenir. So there he is. There's Mr. Jorg from California. And I did take a quick look, and he's got all kinds of articles out there about, as it says, redistribution of happiness. So I plan to send him a letter on behalf of the county and thank him for this. And maybe I'll throw some postage in there for him so he can continue this. So that's all I have.
Thanks for doing that.
Until we.
All right, gentlemen. Dates.
I will take August 31st through September 13th.
August 31st, September 13th. It's Mr. Moran, start us off.
Tuesday, September 2nd, 8:30 in the morning, our regular planning session, followed by a budget meeting. And then that evening, 6 o'clock, PC and BOA, both of them. Wednesday, the 3rd, Morrison County Farm Bureau, 6 o'clock at Pizza Ranch. Friday, the 5th, 8:30, T-SWAC at the landfill. And then I also got a Central Minnesota EMS at the Stearns County Government Center at 10 o'clock that morning. And then the following Tuesday, the 9th, the board meeting, regularly scheduled, And Friday, the 12th at 3:30, there's a introduction to the new judge here in town. District judge.
Right. Did Phil mention the budget committee meeting on the second?
Phil.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jeez. The Commissioner Moran mentioned.
He did. Random.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a lot.
that's amazing.
Which
That's a
meeting,
brother.
wait a minute, which meeting were you asking about?
Budget meeting,
Oh,
following planning session.
gotcha.
The third, I got the Morrison County audit exit. With the auditor at 1:00. Geez, on that. Eighth, Yellow Ribbon Committee meeting. That's it. Well, there's department head meeting on the tenth. I'll put that down. That's all I got. Mr. Blaine.
Thursday, the 4th at 3 p.m., the Rural Development Finance Authority will meet at Pine Country Bank. On Friday, the 5th at 8:30, I don't know if that was mentioned, that we have TSWAC.
Yeah.
Or was mentioned. Other than that, Commissioner Lemire and I will have a Roadmeyer meeting on the 8th.
All right, thanks for that reminder.
We're back to meeting. I don't believe I have anything else for that, but you admit, Commissioner Moran had mentioned the Farm Bureau is having a meeting on Wednesday.
6 o'clock.
Is that right? Yeah, unfortunately, I'll be at GRE, but I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Mr. Casper.
Okay, mostly covered here, but I would say Thursday, September 4th, virtual meeting with Central Minnesota Council on Aging. And then skipping over to the following Tuesday in the afternoon, just a couple of things for townships. Hillman Township is having a picnic over in Hillman at St. Rita's at their parish center that evening from 5:30 till 8 o'clock. And then also that same evening at 1900 or 7 o'clock at the Hillman Legion, they want to recognize Mel Buessler for 26 years being involved with the township there. And then I'm going to go to the fall policy conference for AMC in Alexandria, and that's Thursday, Friday, the 11th and 12th over in Alexandria. And that covers me.
Thank you, Mr. Casper. Commissioner Winter.
Other than, on the 10th, I have a meeting at Wake Cab Town Hall, the Mississippi watershed for Sartell, so that'll be at 10 o'clock. Otherwise, I'm all covered.
Thank you. All right. You need anything to
Yeah,
add?
Mr. Chair, tied to Judge Lester's investiture mentioned by Commissioner Moran, Judge Weiler's retirement will be the 4th of September. There at 4:30 at the Black and White. I believe the board was invited to that. Maybe I didn't pass the invitation. For those interested, also on the 6th and 7th is Arts and Crafts and Antiques and Collectibles in town. Government Center is allowing Chamber to set up in our parking lot that weekend in support of that event. So that will be happening. And then just a reminder that on the 1st of September, in conjunction with Labor Day, the Government Center and daily operations will be closed. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, John. So now we're gonna go into a closed session. So could I get a motion, a second for a closed session for the discussion of property purchase?
I'm right before that, Mr. Chair, I'm required to highlight the actual property that's going to be discussed in the closed session, if I may.
Absolutely.
It's Joanne, it's the Flowlit House here directly east of the Government Center, just off of Highway 27, parcel ID 480411000. That will be the property that we'll be discussing.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we go into closed session.
Made by Commissioner Blaine, second by Commissioner Casper. Discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried for closed session.